Hello, guys. We're starting off Missing Mondays the way we should be. Treats in hand. One for Cassie, one for Pia, and one for Wrigley, who is more interested in the other dogs. Yes. Hey, everyone. Hey there. We've had people in chat. I love it. I love it. Sleuth Mom, congrats. Sleuth Mom has been working on the missing people whole idea of missing children, getting the word out and all that for a couple months now. And she hit 1,000 today. So props in chat. She has done an amazing job. She's on almost daily, it seems. She's just really, and she's been amazing for me. She and I bounce things off each other all the time. And she's just, I really appreciate everything she shares with me. And a lot of what I'm talking about tonight has been through her Facebook group and talking with her and stuff like that. So I really want to thank her for a lot of that. And guys, please go up at the top of this comment list. There is her chat. Please consider her channel. Please consider going and subbing because it's worth it. Other than that, we got other people in chat I got to say hi to real quick. We got Miss Jilly Bear. How you doing, girl? And GCM made it. I'm so happy GCM made it. It's hard for, I know, my East Coast friends to make it, and that's I've been trying to find the right time for this. I know, Siren, you're the other one that's really hard because these time zones suck. Royally suck. Badly. And also thanks both of you and all of you who are on those later time zones that are getting stuck with me because it's literally only 7 p.m. my time. So I want to give you guys some time to get settled, get kids into bed and stuff like that. And we'll see how this time works. If not, we'll change up times again. So Jilly Bear, I said hi to. Siren, I said hi. You'll need a minimum up. Yes. Siren, I've been doing the research into the upload and download speeds, and yeah, it's kind of fun. Nell Bell's here. Love you, Nell Bell. And here she goes. I have been talking. I don't know why. Every time I hear the name Here She Goes, I start singing. Here she goes. I don't even know how that sounded. That didn't sound anything like the song that I'm thinking, but yeah, whatever. And there's Rabonzo. How you doing, my dear? And late for dates here too. She's not late. I didn't even get to the first and next part, which is everyone's favorite Robbie created intro.
Aloha and welcome to the Local My Life.
I love him for doing that. I love that one. So thank you again, Robbie, for that. Every time I hear it, I just I love it. So we've got a new case out there. And by the way, dogs have been going crazy today. The bird's been quiet all day. I literally think these animals know the moment I go live. I really do. I did give them treats. They're just yelling at each other, and the bird just is being the bird. Fire alarm, like we all know. So, KK's here and Missing in Life. No problem, Missing in Life. I know you've got a lot going. Oh, you scheduled a live for an hour and a half. Okay, sounds right. Sounds like what I had going on yesterday. So no problem, my dear. And we have a new situation going on, a new story, missing child. And this case is bringing up a lot of red flags, not just in this own case, but it's something we're starting to have happen over and over. And thank you, Sleuth Mom. Yeah, the puppies and the bird have become my life. And also I keep trying to figure out how to work around them. It's not working. And but others have kids. I got animals. Yeah, no, this thing has really raised a lot of red flags in me because a lot of you guys know that when I started this channel, yes, it was Cantina and it was mental health. And I haven't done many of my mental health lives lately because Fridays have just happened to be the holidays right now for us. So we will be getting back to mental health lives this week. However, one of the subjects I did on mental health lives was about COVID and how COVID was affecting mental health. I've discovered COVID, I think, has had a major It's really affected missing children, child abuse, all sorts of things on that level. I never in my life had heard of stories up until recently of children who had been missing for months, years, and no one knew a thing about it. That was unheard of. That was not something that I actually considered even possible. I mean, who literally considers the fact that a child can go missing for 2 years and no one even knows they're missing? I'm sorry, it does not make sense to me. And I've tried to figure out why. Why is this happening? Okay. It's not something I could have seen before. And the one thing that keeps popping up, and I'm going to come back to this later, is the whole thing. Hello, Sandra, and of COVID lockdowns. Okay. Lockdowns have really affected so many things from our own mental health, okay, and things on that level. But I think it's also made things such as child abuse a lot easier for people to get away with, because those first line of defense teachers, okay, doctors, things like that, were not being seen. And now all of a sudden you've got this. You've got, what did CPS, okay, Child Protective Services, do over the last 2 years when there were lockdowns, especially when it was the full country lockdown? Were they going out and doing visits and stuff like that? Did they just take the word of people? What's going on? We already know the system has a lot of broken areas, okay? And I think COVID literally made those broken areas more broken, if that's even possible. And yes, it is possible. So tonight's case is exactly one of these cases. This little girl, okay, Harmony Montgomery, went missing 2 years ago. And we heard about it for the first time on New Year's Eve. Okay. It's like, what? In fact, the first time I heard about Harmony, I thought, I don't want to. I really would like to, because I try to look at the people who have Amber Alerts out first. Okay, I'm just recently disappeared. And then I kind of work my way backward time-wise, because the sooner we could get word out about someone disappearing, the better the chances are of finding them. So I kind of do that. And I was like, 2 years ago, I don't know. And then I started hearing more on the story, and I'm like, oh, hell. This is bringing up too many times. We're seeing this problem within CPS and stuff, where things kind of slide by, and it needs to be brought to light more and more, and we need to do something about it. So Harmony went missing from Manchester, New Hampshire. Okay, and the police themselves are working like crazy trying to figure out what's going on. But they've been caught behind, okay, the 8 ball to begin with, because of the fact we're 2 years into this. Okay, think of everything that could have happened in those 2 years. There also just so happens, one of the reasons why this got brought to attention was because certain family members and loved ones kept pushing this. And okay, why isn't CPS checking this out? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? And they did not feel like they were being heard. And they kept being told, well, there's nothing we can do about it, that she's fine, okay, blah, da, 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 okay. Until finally, okay, well, fine, we'll contact the mayor's office. Maybe something will happen then. If we do something on that level, and we're going to talk about some of the reasons why. I mean, there's a little boy. This little girl has a little brother who idolizes her. She was actually almost like a caregiver to him, even though she was so young to begin with. It's amazing how she would change diapers and give him, okay, a bottle and stuff like this. And he wants to see his big sister. And he's been asking to see his big sister for years, and no one could get him to meet his big sister. I'm going to go over exactly why that was. Okay, it's not like they were living under the same house or something, and we are going to go through all that. The story itself said missing in life, a lot of it happened because, I hate to say it, COVID combined with a failure of the system. on top of it. So, this whole story, like any other child story, starts. You've got a mom and a dad going on, and basically, Harmony and her little brother spent much of, especially Harmony's early life, in and out of foster care. There were issues with both mom and dad at one time or another. Okay. In some cases, drugs, in some cases, whatever. A lot of us have our own vices and things. Okay. And that's why we've always talked about this here. You know what? I give it to every parent who can work through their issues and put that child first. And that is what happened in this case. You had family members who were trying to work through things. Now, long story short, we've got a game of he said, she said. We don't know right now, this moment, who exactly saw this little one last. We have a very good idea, but it's all he said, she said stuff. Now, all of us here in true crime community, what do we tend to do? We tend to listen to all the clues and we start putting together our own idea of what's going on here. Harmony and her little brother were with their mom. Her mom, as you can see, mom here. Mom's name is Crystal. They were with mom until November of 2018. In 2018, the two of them were removed for an incident. Now, I have heard comments that it was a drug-related incident. There is no verification of that, and you guys know how I feel about guessing, okay, and saying something is the truth when we do not know for sure if it is. It would make sense to me. And but they were taken away at that time. However, over time, they were put into foster care. The two of them were together. And this is that time period where the two became so close. Okay, not sure. I myself never had to go through the system myself. But I can tell you, my brother and I are like this. Okay, if we had been pulled out of our own house and put into a different household, we probably would have even become closer because we would have depended on each other. So the relationship between little brother, okay, and big sister became very tight during that time period. And time continued on, and in June of 2019, okay, leading up to that, starting in about February, okay, well, wait, what's that? November. They would allow, when your parents child is taken away from parents, and the parents are allowed to visit if they would like to. Come visit, work on the relationship, because in all reality, the idea of fostering in this type of situation is the kids are going to be coming back home to their parents. You need to have that relationship going. That relationship's important. And having that time with each other, okay, even if they're living under another house, is important. So during that time period, mom did not visit with the kids at all. They were taken away in November, and she made a decision, for whatever reason that was, that she wasn't going to be visiting. We don't know what that reason is. Okay. It could be her working on her own issues and needing to focus on that. It could have been something else. We don't know. And us guessing is only hurting them more. And however, as of February of 2019, okay, a couple months later, 3 months later, Dad, whose name is Adam, started visiting both his son and his daughter at the foster home. And during this time period, he only missed one visit. Now, as time continued on and decisions were made, what are we going to do with these children permanently? That kind of came into play. In June of 2019, okay, a decision was made that Harmony's little brother would start a process of adoption. Mom signed over rights to the adopted family in August, early September, and the adoption was finalized in November of 2019. However, okay, for their own, okay, Sleuth Mom, thank you. Only Harmony is Adams. Okay, thank you, my dear. That solves a lot of my questions because I'd wondered exactly how all that stuff popped up there. Okay, got it. So Harmony, okay, is coming back into the family, and a decision was made at that time that Harmony, because her father had shown all this dedication of going in and visiting and only missed one visit during that time, I guess he was given custody. Okay. Now there are more information out there as to whether or not Adam has a background, a criminal background. What Sleuth Mom is explaining there is Adam, dad, Harmony is his child. Okay, listen, sorry, dogs are going to start up now. Okay, and that explains a lot. And yeah, it does look just like him. Actually, you're right. Looks very much like him now that all that comes together. So for better, worse, whatever, you can't really look at things at that time. You don't know what the future is going to hold. But dad got full custody. And time goes on, and Harmony goes back with her dad in May of 2019. So while the whole adoption continues moving forward with her brother, she is sent back with her dad. Now, there's a lot of things I've got some concerns with here. And this is the start of issues with CPS and things we need to start taking a look at as a society, and decide exactly how important are our children in our lives. Okay, what is more important, privacy or child safety? Things like that level. And I know there's a lot of thoughts here in this chat, okay, on both sides for various reasons, and all of them right. Many people in these chats have dealt with CPS, and it's not been a good setup. Okay, and other people have seen it where kids were failed. So there's problems on all sides, and I think that's why it's not a one answer fits type thing. We've got to re-look at the whole system. But my question comes down to this. Okay, after she went back with her dad, everything was dropped. Reunification happened. Oh, great. We're done. We don't need to do anything as CPS, CFS, CS, whatever it's called. Every state has their own system. Yeah, look at her smile there, KK. I mean, she's the cutest thing. And yeah, her smile, she smiles ear to ear. Every picture I find of her, she's smiling like that. And but my question comes down to here. There is evidence that he had issues with drugs. There is evidence that he had a criminal background. So when she goes back to whether it be mom or dad, I don't care at this point, what is happening to make sure that she is in a safe place? Yes, the family needs privacy and time to grow back together and tighten up. But what about mandatory doctor visits to make sure she's going to the doctor and making sure nothing's happening? What about mental health counseling? Okay, I mean, any of us who have had any time away from family under a situation like this, you would think you would need some sort of mental health counseling to help that relationship redevelop. No mental health counseling. What if you have recovering addicts? What about drug screening? Okay, I know a lot of people have their own personal stories where CPS has, quote unquote, screwed you over for reasons and very valid reasons. But in a case like this, things may have been caught if those couple steps had been taken. And I think that's where we really have to take a look at stuff. The other thing that I think became a major issue, a bigger issue than I think we even realize right now, and I think Sleuth Mom, you're right here, is that relationship between sister and brother. Okay, that relationship that was so much more than just sibling relationship. Um, that had to have an effect on her. She was yanked away from her brother, who she, in a way, almost saw as her own child, I think. Okay, maybe not in the way that a mother thinks it, but she had been caring for her little brother. Think about it. The first thing, if a child, okay, if a parent dies, one of the first things that you hear that the oldest child saying is, "Remember, you're the one in charge. Okay, you got to make sure everyone's good now. Okay, I'm going to depend on you for that." We hear that all the time, and I'm sure. Okay, the more I hear about this, the more I see that's going on, and she was yanked away from her brother now because there was this adoption, and neither of them were able to see each other again. Okay, no fault of the adoptive family here. I'm going to say that right now. Okay, it's more the father's side. Again, and this makes more sense than ever, okay, with what Sleuth Mom just said. If the son was not his biologically, why would he care? All he wanted was his own little family there. Just plain psychology right there. And so I think, yeah, and there you go, late for your day. Your mom died and both sisters lived with you after. And I think that's a lot of what happened here. And I'm sure as a young girl, she kept saying, "I want to see my brother. I want to see my brother." I'm sure it was a bone of contention. And that was dealing with things. On the same level, he wanted to see his sister. And there's very vocal about that. Okay, the adoptive family and her mom have been saying that that was a big issue. He wanted to see his big sister and kept saying that. Even just recently, a picture has been released where he is putting hearts and all that with all the initials of the people that he loved, and his big sister's right there. Okay, he still right now thinks his sister is coming home. I'm really hoping she will. I don't have a good feeling, gang. I do not have a good feeling, and I'm really hoping I'm wrong on this one. But 2 years is such a long time period. And this little boy is having his sister pulled away from him a second time. So I think he has, and this we know, he is like, "I want to see harmony. I want to see harmony." And that's what kind of set this whole thing off. I think mom probably was like, "You know what? Dad has this. I don't have whatever her reasoning was is between her and but she decided pull back. And but she knew that her son, okay, needed to see because the adoptive family was contacting and saying, "We really, hey Brandy, hey my dear, better late than never." And there's always repeat, repeat. That works too. So, but no, I love you, girl. So they started trying to connect the two of them. Okay. They were contacting Adam. Okay. Can we get the two of them together? They really, okay. A little brother really wants to see her. Can we get no responses? This continued on and on and on. No responses. And that was a major push behind reporting things because of the fact that, you know what? Wait, if you're starting to get told, "Hello, Aussie True Crime," if you're starting to get told routinely, "Oh no," okay, or even ignored, forget, it doesn't even sound like there was any told, it was ignore. Then you start questioning things. What's going on here? What's happening here? And I think that's what was probably going on here. So during this time, the family lived in this little house. Okay, Harmony lived there with her dad. Also lived with other family members. The house was owned by her dad's family, two family members, and was later foreclosed on. So I just wanted to share because a lot of things started coming out initially when all this started popping up. Hey, Christola. And family were very, very visible in Facebook. Mom. Okay, people okay, trying to find this little girl. They were very, very vocal, and they backed off because, anyone who knows social media, it's a zoo out there. And if you're the family member trying to get through this on a day-to-day basis, we got problems, okay, because it's destroying you from inside. But there were a couple of messages that were posted before things started pulling backwards. Michael is actually one of Adam's brothers. Okay. And one of the things he talked about here was this was a post that was up on Facebook. And just to read, so he said, I'm not sure why this article says missing since 2019, because that's what's being reported is that she's been missing since 2019. That was the last time I saw her, but we knew she was in her father's custody. Again, go back to the whole idea. He said, she said. Okay, he's saying mom has her. Mom's saying he has her. So this is his brother. Adam Montgomery, the father, has had the entire family's numbers blocked since 2019, has had the entire family blocked on social media. We all live 1,500 miles away in Florida. We have contacted the police and DCYF. A wellness check was performed. Now, this wellness check was done, if I recall right, October 2019. And they said they could do nothing despite the fact that there was no heat and the only electric was from a gas generator at the home she was living in, and family reporting abuse. Harmony's biological mother has been trying to get in contact with Adam, and when she couldn't, she once again tried for a wellness check, but the police cannot get the father to cooperate. Hopefully, this is enough info to stop the useless speculation in the comments. Just hit share so anyone who may have seen her can get the police some information. And that's what we're talking about here. This is not about a he said, she said, or any of the other bull crap. This is about getting a little girl home. Plain and simple. Okay, people, unfortunately, and I hate to say this because I'm part of the true crime community, but we get into this whole thing where we want to solve the crime. The problem is our job is to get the word out about what is going on, to get the picture, to get the story out. Let the police solve it. Okay, if we have information to share with them, we share with them. But it's not our job to create speculation because, like I've said before, and I saw this written somewhere and it really struck me when I saw it, the moment people start speculating and believing in the speculating is the moment that people stop looking for the person. I mean, after all, if you know the child's been killed and okay, whatever, what are you going to do? No need to look anymore. That's the problem with speculation right there. So there was also another comment. Someone had replied to someone else saying, so sad. So she was last seen October 2019. And someone else came in and said, Matthew Roberts, myself and other family members have made multiple reports to DCF beginning in the summer of 2019. They were made aware of problems on many occasions. So this is something that we're starting to see routine issues with. It sounds like many families, and we are talking family members on his side of the family, had concerns popping up. And they were reporting it to police. But because of the fact he had full custody and maybe because of COVID and lockdowns and all that at the time, something wasn't happening. And that's where we've got a major issue. Also, in October of 2019, there was, according to Uncle Kevin, one of her great uncles, there was a huge fight at the house. Basically, he even stated that when he looked at Harmony, she, quote, looked like a scared puppy. That look that you see in a puppy or an animal when it's scared. Okay, and it just that flight look, that's what he saw. There was a huge fight. Police were contacted. This is about the same time as the wellness check. That was also because of the wellness check that occurred on that day. And that was the last time they could verify that she was seen. Anything after that is just people guessing. There is no verified check. Again, we're in the middle of getting ready for COVID and stuff like that. So what's going on? Sometime after this, like I said, the house was foreclosed on. And when the house was foreclosed on, okay, things kept moving on. Good night, Cristola. Sleep well, my dear. And over time, okay, he moved into a new apartment complex. While he was at the apartment complex, he supposedly still had Harmony. Okay, according to what the family thought this whole time, he had Harmony this whole time. So, however, there were a number of comments, again, posted by family members, people who lived in the area, as well as the resident manager of the apartment complex. Tara was one of those and said, Adam is my old neighbor. He was kicked out last year. Last I knew, which is just a few months ago, he was in a sober living house in Manchester, New Hampshire. He lived over by me in 2019. That's when he moved in, and this child was not with him. He did speak of her, though. Basically said that the mother was not allowing him to see her. I don't know if this helps or not, but he is 100% in Manchester as of right now. And so there was some discussion going on that. As you can see further down, someone said, yeah, but that's a lie, though, because according to the mother and his own family, he has sole custody of the child, and the mother hasn't seen her in over a year. And we also have further information over here. Sorry, let me make this a little bigger so I can actually read it. This time written to Michael Montgomery himself, saying from Tara, when he was evicted from where I live, he went to jail for a few months and then was released into. Now, my question here now again, any of us who've dealt with social media, you have to take things with a grain of salt, because the first thing in my head here is he went to jail and a halfway house. What happened to the child during that time period? Okay, if the police and especially CFS knew that they had put this child back into his full custody, what was going on during that time period? If this is true here. Okay. But the whole time he lived over by me, there was no daughter. He did speak about her multiple times, that the mom refused to let him see her. That when they lived in the grandmother's house in Bedford, the house that I just showed you guys, the mother came and took her and never let him see her after that. The 2 years he was living here, we never once saw the child, and I have multiple security cameras on the property, so I would have seen her if she was around. I only saw the 2 sons, so he had other kids at the time. So this definitely did become an issue. Okay, there's a lot of things going on. Sorry, here, let me go ahead. Maybe can do that, Local My Life. Tag into. I will have to try to figure out who you were talking about. Oh, Brian, yes, that's a good point. I will. Thank you, guys. See, you guys are so smart. That's why I love this community. Like I said before, okay, I could sit here and talk about this stuff, but you guys come up with great ideas every single time. So we will definitely have to, because honestly, the more we can get these stories out, this story is a major story that we need to get out. Lena, okay, our little girl from San Antonio, she still has an Amber Alert out for her, and we need to get her out. Okay, more people need to be talking about her. So they had moved into this apartment, and over time, this was the time families like, something is up. We need to be getting this. Little brother's continuing to ask routinely, where is my big sister? I want to see my big sister. So it was at this time that they continued, and they made a decision. You know what? Someone who's connected to all this decided to write something to the mayor. Okay, I think many of us have heard that before. If you're not getting anything done through a certain group, okay, in city and county, then go to the mayor, because they're the one in charge, and in the end should take responsibility for whatever's happening. So they contacted the mayor. Mayor kicked this off, and now the police are running with this. I'm not going to get into did the police know? No. The thing is, they know now, and we're moving forward full time force. There are rewards out. There are a special group. Definitely sleuth mom. I'll have to do that because I do have. Well, I have my Instagram, but I can get the other stuff going pretty well. So, but again, and I'm going to keep mentioning this because it's important for everyone to realize this little brother is the reason why this is being pushed so hard. He wants to see his big sister. If it hadn't been for this little boy pushing and pushing and pushing, this little girl would still be God knows where. We still wouldn't know her name. No one would know anything that's happening right now. The only thing that has pushed this is this little boy saying he wants to see his big sister. So the adoptive family of this little boy actually did make a comment when it was announced that there was a report of her being missing. And they had said, last night we learned that our son's sister Harmony is missing. It's heartbreaking and it's hard to understand how this happened. They were together until he was almost 3 years when we adopted him. We pray that she's okay and ask that you share this so we can hopefully get answers. Okay. And then the Manchester police are really following. Like I said, they have started a dedicated phone line that can take tips as well as text messages and everything. And it's not being answered by some answering machine. It's actually a human who's answering it. So I do give them credit for running with this and trying to, and you can tell they are upset right now because they're like, someone here knows something. Why the hell doesn't someone have the balls to say, I know this happened on this day. Oh yeah, this happened here. Someone knows something. This guy, if he is the one responsible for something, okay, someone has to know the day that she was there and then the day she wasn't there. Okay, there are, lie detector things like that, that I know are also being done at this time. One of the first things that was done when they did start this search is they went back to that original house because it does definitely seem like she was there when they were in the house. And then when they moved to the apartment, she was no longer with them anymore. So they have a time period here that they can look at. And as you can see, we've got the house in the lower left. The upper right is actually a drone picture from a couple days, actually a day and a half ago, something like that. And you can see at that time, they had set a tent up in the backyard. They were looking through and trying to find anything that was going on. They did move out of the house fairly quickly after that disappearance time. Yes, it was a foreclosure, but could there be a time coincidence going on there? Who knows? But they did do that. Now, my first fear every time we see a tent is, are there remains? I don't think so, and mainly based off of the fact that today they had a press conference, and if there had been something like that, I think they would have told us today. So I think that was more or less them just going through things, probably did do some digging up and stuff like that, trying to figure out. So they are looking around. They are talking to people. Family members are being interviewed like crazy, just trying to get any information. The amount of time that they're trying to gather information for is huge. It's just so huge. I mean, a 2-year time period to try to gather all that information and come up with stuff. They are really having to start this game with such a handicap. And I hate calling it a game, but you're trying to solve a puzzle here. They're trying to find this little girl and bring her back home to her little brother. To her mom. I'm going to, just on a whim, just in case dad isn't involved, to her dad. You guys know me. I don't like to sit there and I say it when I feel pretty strongly about it, but still, I'm not the police. I don't know 100% of the evidence. So, unless the police have said something different to me, I probably shouldn't be saying it myself, to be honest. But I do feel there's a lot of red flags in this one game. There really are a lot of things going on here. So they did search the house. Now this all does get back to the thing, gang. How does this happen? How many of you guys ever heard of a kid going missing for 2 years prior to this last year? It's not something you would hear regularly. Maybe once in a while, but all of a sudden in this last year, we've heard it how many times? Hey, Christy, how you doing, my dear? Love ya. And we've heard it how many times? We've got Oakley, we've got all these other cases popping up, and it doesn't make sense. Why is this happening? And the only reason, okay, this logical side of my brain is coming up with is we had COVID. We had a lockdown. We had a time period that maybe CPS was not able to do what little checks they were able to pull off. Because how do you go visit these places? Were they even allowed to visit these places? What were their policies even like during this time period? Okay, being a long-term care administrator, that's the first thing I ever think about. What was your policy for this? So how did COVID affect their policies? Even though everything was in a lockdown, because were they considered, okay, mandatory personnel? I would think so. So then how did they do their thing? Did they just make phone calls and then trust the phone call? And, but I think that's where we're starting to have more and more issues, and these are starting to pop up more because people who've been hiding stories like this are getting to the point they can't hide them anymore. And I'm hoping that it is a one-time thing that's surrounding lockdowns and that it isn't a new thing that we're going to start dealing with on a routine basis, because it's so sad to me that this many kids can go missing and no one even recognizes they've gone missing. I mean, that is just the fact that a child can go missing and no one reports them missing. What the fuck? Excuse me. But what is wrong with us as a society when something like that can happen and happen routinely? So I'm hoping that's what it is. Okay, no matter what, we know we have an issue. Okay, we know we have an issue with CPS and all that. And yes, like we've said in the past, some of it is procedure problems, some of it is funding problems, some of it's training problems, some of it is manpower problems. But we need to solve these problems. We can't keep letting children pay the price of us not wanting to solve the problems. So what can we do to try to help solve that? And you know what, gang? We all have a part in that. Okay, whether that is starting up a channel like Sleuth Mom or myself or so many others on YouTube, or helping sharing lives and stuff like that with people, or pictures and all that, those are parts we all play on this. Okay, there's also the part of being a CASA. For those of you who don't know about CASA, court appointed, okay, basically you get appointed by the court to help follow a child who is going through the system right now, because they know they don't have the manpower to do it themselves. So these are ways we can help, because unfortunately the problem with this is the problem's too big. The problem is so overwhelming that no one knows where to even start with it. So what can we do? Well, what we can do is actually do whatever we have the ability to make a change on. That's all we can do. I can't go out there and search for a child, but I can get on here and share a video. Little things we can do. That's all we can try. So, her mom, my heart's going out to her mom right now. I don't know where her decisions were and what was behind her thought process on so many things and all, and that's something between her. Okay. That's something for her to deal with on that level, but I do know this is her daughter. And I do recognize she loves her daughter. She herself posted on Facebook saying, "Thank you so much, everyone. When I'm allowed to tell more, I will. But for now, what I will say is DCYF in New Hampshire failed my daughter. I will fight to bring her home or fight for justice." That says something right there. She knows in her heart there's a chance that she may never bring her home, that she may never hear her little girl's voice again. And she's having to come to terms with that. And that coming to terms with that, we talked about this with Kamari yesterday within the update. I will fight to bring her home or fight for justice. But right now, I'm trying to stay positive and cooperative and pray every minute for my firstborn, my sweet, sweet Harmony Renee. These are the reasons why I started Missing Mondays, as I would do a video and move on to the next story the next week, and then move on to the next story the next week. And then I realized very quickly, I can't move on to the next story and just forget these kids, these adults, these teenagers need, no one should be forgotten. And if they need to have justice, then we're going to be here to follow them through on justice. We are going to be here. Hey there, MVS. And we will be here, and we will be able to help their family. We will support whoever we need to support. And yes, we will continue a new person every week. We will make sure that we aren't focusing on just one story, but we will go over and over, and we will bring up, because there are so many guys. I could go through the website right now and do a different person's story every single day, and I would not get through it in a year. That's how many are missing right now. And they need us to be their voice. So we're going to get the word out. Okay, people, you guys in chat have been amazing. I mean, the brainstorming in this chat right now on, okay, how can we get the word out? How can we do that? I mean, I feel so positive when I see this. I really feel positive, because you realize very quickly, sometimes it gets overwhelming looking at these stories, and then you see this and you're like, we're all together. And then you think about the families, and maybe the families can feel just the slightest bit of comfort in knowing that they're not alone either. And they will not be alone either. So Harmony was last seen 2 years ago at the age of 5. So all the pictures we've seen tonight are a 5-year-old. She was last seen in October of 2019 in Manchester, New Hampshire. We are estimating at this point, with her being 7 years old, that she'd be about 4 feet tall and 50 pounds. She's got blonde hair and blue eyes, and something I did not put on this, but a lot of you guys may have noticed in looking at the pictures, she wears glasses. She's actually blind in her right eye. And also, due to that, she will be wearing glasses. Okay. When she is found, she would have to be wearing glasses at this point. It's something that would just be expected. Reminder, the photos are from 2 years ago. She is going to have aged. Luckily, 5 to 7 has had some changes, but it's not as much of a change. Thank God we only waited 2 years, because every year that goes by, it's harder to recognize that picture, and you're having to go into age progression. If anyone has any information, maybe you see, and this is the thing with the 2-year-old case, this may be, you may remember something if you live in this area of something that happened literally a year and a half ago and not even be realizing it now. This is the problem when it goes this long. But if you have anything, okay, pictures, okay, you're going through your pictures now, looking around and seeing, maybe you went to some park or whatever, and you're going through pictures from that area and you see something, please call the Manchester PD. The police department has set a tip line up that will be answered by humans only for this case. It will be answered. It's not going to voicemail, and it will take text messages also. And that phone number is area code 603-203-6060. Hey, Michael, welcome, my dear. Welcome, Michael. All of us together, I've seen a community of people here that really want to be the voice for children and families who may no longer have that voice. And I'm so happy we have that. I agree, KK. If you live near Dad, check your Ring doorbells. Okay, maybe you have some video or something. Like, there's so much. That's the thing, especially in today's day and age, 2-year time period. So, as you guys know, every single week we do Missing Mondays, and we try to focus on someone who is not getting a lot of coverage. Harmony is going to be getting a lot more coverage. I have a funny feeling, and I'm really hoping she does, because with this case being this old, she needs every bit of coverage she can get. Hello, Amber. I love you, my dear. No problem, my dear. Hey, I love you, girl. And I love my Amber. And so I'm happy she'll be getting the coverage. But every Monday we do come together and we try to talk about someone who is missing, who needs to have their face shown, who needs to have their story talked about. We share these thumbnail things that I create just to get them out as far and wide as possible. So I hope to see you guys next week. I have been doing this time, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, thinking that might work better for people. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. If any of you have, one of the most important things to me is if anyone knows of any cases that you really feel need to be brought to the light, okay, here on YouTube land and Facebook land and all that, please send me an email. My email is thelocalmylife@gmail.com. And I can see about bringing that in for next week's discussion. So love all you guys so much. Again, a huge congratulations to Sleuth Mom for hitting her 1,000 today. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. I look forward to talking to you guys in the future. We will be going back to having our mental health discussions on Fridays as of this week, now that Christmas and New Year's are over. And also, I will see you guys on Friday for that. And then, of course, Canteen. We all know about our fun canteen. So love you guys tons. I will see y'all later. Have a great week, and I will talk. Aloha. Bye-bye.